Okay, so that's an oversight of that. And as you said, it's obviously amassed this. It obviously had a following pre-Drive to Survive, but it's kind of amassed this whole new audience post-Drive to Survive, which includes like us normal folks, but it also includes now like celebrities. And now again, there have been celebrity fans of F1 like going back into the 2000s. Like Patrick Dempsey's been a big fan. He actually co-owns a team, the Dempsey Proton Racing team, a couple of other people, Anne Hathaway, Cameron Diaz, lots of people, right? But then, you can obviously go, and I've seen a lot of people on my Instagram stories attended Silverstone, and like they went and they saw a couple of races, whatever, and they were happy out, right? But explain to me what this grid walk is, and like who is there in terms of like attendees and who is working there per se.
Okay, so the grid walk itself is a pre-race ritual on Sky Sports, hosted by Martin Brundle, who is a pundit on Sky Sports. He's kind of one of the main ones. He's a co-commentator with David Croft as well for the race.
And he was a racer back in the day.
He was a racer back in the day.
I don't know what the terminology is. You're going to have to.
Yeah, no, he was a driver back in the day. I'll give you just a bit of a brief history on Martin Brundle, and we kind of go into the grid walk and then go from there. But he's a former F1 driver from essentially 1984 to 1996. Took a 1 year gap in 1990. He drove for big teams in F1 at the time. Now, didn't have like a massive success. He had some podium results, so that's a podium result is finishing first to third. And then you as you would see in popular culture, the three drivers spraying giant bottles of champagne on each other. But yeah, he drove for big teams in Formula One. Tyrrell, Williams are still knocking around today. Brabham, Benetton, and McLaren, another team who are very highly regarded in the history of Formula One. As well as our own home team, Jordan F1, who were an Irish team, the only Irish team to ever race in Formula One. But I think that was primarily in, say, like the late 90s, early 2000s, why, a lot of Irish households might have had the Formula One on a Sunday, because it was like, we're actually pretty good at this.
Yeah.
Eddie Jordan was one of the first. He was the team principal at Jordan, founding member of Jordan F1. He was one of the first people to give Michael Schumacher a run out, and everyone knows who Michael Schumacher is. So anyway, back to Martin Brundle. He had a stint driving 24 Hours of Le Mans, so he's been driving like constantly up until 2012, when he kind of semi-retired then. He joined the ITV pundit team in 1997 alongside legendary commentator Murray Walker, so sports fans would know Murray Walker, kind of before my time. Did a little bit of looking into him, seemed to have a bit of a cult kind of status around him. But BBC got the rights back to Formula One in 2009. They bought the rights back. So Martin Brundle moved alongside there to BBC, and in 2011 announced that he would become the lead commentator. So he's what David Croft is now, alongside former F1 driver David Coulthard. So he's another kind of popular head who would have driven for Red Bull and McLaren. Red Bull in their heyday, like the kind of start out era, when they were, before they were absolutely enormous and world dominant and are now current world champions. So he moved to Sky Sports in 2011, where he stepped into the quote unquote second seat, as I've written here in my notes, to David Croft, who's widely known as the voice of F1 in the current era. So onto the grid walk then. So the grid walk is a pre-race ritual on Sky Sports before the race takes place on a Sunday, where the broadcast is sent down to Martin Brundle on the grid, who essentially spends 10 odd minutes or so wandering around the grid at a time when the grid allows teams, mechanics, drivers, and the crucial part here being VIPs onto the grid to get a closer look at the action and to kind of be amongst it all.
And is it only Sky and Martin that does that currently?
It is currently only Sky and Martin Brundle does that, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So during the window, this like kind of 10-minute window, he is kind of, you'll see him legging it up and down the grid, looking for drivers, more so celebrities, to speak with ahead of the race, just about like their day, their weekend. He has someone in his ear kind of feeding them facts about who he's speaking to, because I have cut some clips and we'll get to them in a few minutes, but as you will hear, in a lot of cases he has no fucking clue who he's talking to. Like, he's no clue who he's talking to. It can be the most excruciating TV you'll ever watch in your life, but also it can be very, very wholesome, as we have seen in many parts. But I think the awkward factor is the big draw, because he's completely shameless.